In this lesson, we're going to take a look at solutions to linear systems. So what is a system of equations? A system of equations is a solution to two or more equations. And what is the solution to the system of equations? Well, you know that you have the solution to the system of equations when you have the ordered pair where the lines intersect on a graph. So how do I identify the number of solutions to a linear system? So let's take a look at one solution. One solution, you will end up having different slopes. If we end up with no solution to the linear system, you're going to have the same slopes but different y-intercepts. And then we can have infinitely many solutions. That's where we have the same slopes and the same y-intercepts. So let's take a look at what it looks like when you have one solution with the different slopes. So you have these two equations, y is equal to negative 3x minus 2, and y is equal to x or 1x plus 2. So notice, we have different slopes, and here we have a negative 3 slope, and right here we would then have a 1, and we have a 1. All right, so let's take a look at what that looks like on the graph. All right, so we have this equation, y is equal to negative 3x minus 2 graphed, and then we have the y is equal to 1x plus 2 graphed here. And notice where they are intersecting. They're intersecting here at the negative 1, 1. So if you were asked what the solution to the system is, well, the point at where they intersect is at negative 1, 1. Let's also take a look at what it looks like within our equations that we were just given. Remember, we started with y is equal to negative 3x minus 2. So if I plugged in our x and our x is negative 1 and our y is 1, let's plug in 1 is equal to then, and we'd have negative 3 times negative 1 minus 2. All right, so is negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Is 3 minus 2 equal to 1? Yes, 1 would be equal to 1. And so we know it works for that. Now let's check to see if it's a solution of the second, because remember, in order for it to be a solution, it has to be for both of them. So let's plug in 1 for y, and then we have 1 times x, which is equal to negative 1 plus 2. So is 1 equal to negative 1 times 1 is negative 1 plus 2 is equal to 1. So notice how it solves, or it's a solution to both of these equations here, meaning that it is a solution to the system. So let's take a look at what it looks like for no solution. Remember, we said for no solution you can have the same slope and we're going to have different y-intercepts. So notice our slope here, let's just put a 1 there. So our slope for this one is 1, and our slope for this one is 1. And take a look at our y-intercepts. Remember, it said same slopes, different y-intercepts. So that's what we have graphed over here on the right. Notice how they're parallel lines. Because they have the same slope, they're going to continue going in both directions on and on forever without ever touching. And because they'll never touch, there won't ever be that point of intersection. And so that's why we call it then no solution. So let's take a look at infinitely many solutions. Remember, infinitely many solutions have the same slopes and they have the same y-intercept. So I have y is equal to x, or we could say 1x plus 1. We have a slope of 1, a y-intercept of 1. And then we have 2y is equal to 2x plus 2. Now notice those are not the same. They don't look the same anyways. But remember, in order to be able to tell what the slope of the y-intercept is, you always have to solve for y. So let's go ahead and get the y all by itself. And you'll notice you have y is equal to x, or 1x, plus 1. And notice how they're one line on top of the other line. And so you could pick any point on this line and plug it into both of these equations and it's going to work. So let's just take an example. We'll take this point right here of 0, 1, and we'll plug it in. So if I had 0, 1 would be my x would be 0, and my y would be 1, is 1 equal to 0 times 1 plus 1? Yeah, 1 is equal to 1. And if I plugged it in to the same one down below here, it would work as well. Even in, I could plug it into here, and I'd have 2 times 1 is 2, is equal to 2 times 0 is 0, and then is equal to then 2. And notice how 2 is equal to 2. So it's going to work. I could pick any point on that line, and it's going to then be a solution to this system of equations. So in this lesson, we took a look at how to identify the number of solutions to a system.